YouTube, we are back for episode 6 of the reverse sweep. And first and foremost, I want to thank you guys for all the love on our last episode. We got over 100,000 views. As always, I am joined with Call of Duty legends, Censor Parasite and Aches. Boys, how are we doing today?
I'm good. Some games this weekend were interesting to say the least, but overall, yeah, pretty good. What about you guys?
Chris is resident sleeper.
Feeling good, man. I was watching some of these matches with Pat earlier. He had me crying, man. Like, this guy is on one today. And and Chris, I know you tweeted Pat about his clip. That was funny.
Oh yeah,
you guys like that?
Yeah, Pat, you're a clown. You definitely had that written down. I will not be told otherwise. But honestly, I'm also good. I'm also kind of disappointed though. This weekend was pretty fucking boring for the matches.
Agreed.
It was there was like 2 games that were supposed to be interesting, but they kind of ended out in blowouts. Even though the OpTic match 3-2, it was still like a blowout most of the time in terms of the maps. But yeah, anyways, let's get started with the show, shall we, gentlemen?
Wait, so let me say one thing. The amount of love last episode was great, guys, but you know how we like to do it. We like to answer your guys' questions and try to give you insights. There was so much love, it was hard to get a good amount of questions. So in this episode and future episodes, if you want to get your question answered, make sure you actually ask a question. But Chris, I think you pulled like two out, maybe. I don't know. So you can go ahead and read them off. But
okay, yeah. So the first question is by Rodney. He said, "Can you guys talk about the importance of coaches and the role they play?"
What was his name?
Rodney. Like separately.
Rodney. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, can you guys
keep going? My bad. This is interesting name.
Can you guys talk?
What did Rodney ask?
He said, "Can you guys talk about the importance of coaches and the role they play? Can coaches actually make a significant difference in teams?"
I mean, I think so. I think it kind of depends on the coach, right? Like we all CDL teams have coaches, but I think we can all agree, like we can kind of, gauge and really see which coaches have impacts and how great their impacts are. I mean, I think obviously the teams that are very successful, we talk about Rambo now with OpTic and previously Crowder, who is, traditionally known as the GOAT since the CDL era. I think they do play a significant role, but it really comes down to, the teams that they have on them, right? Because there's only so much a coach can really do. At the end of the day, it's about the team executing the game plan that's, discussed and talked over. But can they make a significant difference? Yes, but the talent needs to be there. That's kind of my take.
Yeah, I think it depends on who they're coaching or what, like the type of style, I guess. Because certain coaches, like for example, you look at a team like New York, they're not doing well. But do I think that so for example, their coach D Real, do I think that he's playing a factor in whether they succeed or fail? No, not in my opinion, because you look at their team, you look at Clay and Crim, like those guys are leaders. They're coaches in their own right of the they understand the game to a high level. I don't think that he's changing anything. If anything, maybe he tries to get their mindset right, and maybe does some analytical work with who's their analyst? JP
Krez and Revan's their co-coach.
But besides that, in terms of in-game stuff, no, I don't think he's helping. But Rambo, for example, I think he definitely helps, like OpTic. I don't know. It just depends on the style. It depends on the team, in my opinion.
Like another voice, right? The kind of what you mentioned, the opposite side. It's like another voice of reason almost.
Yeah. I do that. I think they're important, but I don't think it has to do with anything inside the game. Like I think I could talk with experience with Chris. The biggest factor that he brought to our team, and I think his best strength, was how he was able to just handle all of our personalities on 100T, right? And I'm not saying that this is the right way to approach it, but I think where COD's at right now, players will respect someone like a Crowder, right? A Rambo, a TP when he coached, compared to maybe, like, no offense to D Real in New York, but it's got to be hard for someone like Crim and Clay to respect him, right? Because they've done everything. Like, how is he supposed to tell them about something in the game that they don't already know, or even give his opinion if they don't value that highly of him? Now, I'm not saying that that's what the case is, but I think coaches, they do their job when they can keep everyone level-headed. So I don't know if it's a significant difference, because I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to the players, like actually executing. The coaches don't play for you. Having someone like Rambo Ray is huge for OpTic, but when you talk about like Dashy, right, and his difference, we talked about how he played so well at the major. Rambo for sure helped, but I think the biggest thing was Dashy himself and also the players around him with Scump, Shotzi, and Illy. So in my opinion, they're important, but they're a small
I almost
piece
feel like you can
of
get
the
away
success or failures.
I almost feel like you could just get away with not having a coach and stuff like that. It's good for extra information.
Depending on the players you have, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Crim and Clay, I don't think they need a coach. I don't.
Yeah. Well, most of the coaches are retired players, right? So if these players have been and are at the top of their game mentally and IQ wise, a coach isn't going to bring something new to the table that wasn't already known about Call of Duty. And I think that's your point, Ian, is like the biggest factor comes outside of the game itself.
I tend to agree with Ian as well, Pat. I mean, personally, throughout my entire career when I was winning, I never had a coach at all. I think my coach was my teammate's girlfriend when we won nationals.
She keep that to yourself. There. Who is that?
Mutation and Dashboard Queen. You don't know.
Boy was trying to get his girl a free flight.
It was just like we had her there to just be there. We also had Beezer as a coach and Ghost, in AW. Pat, we didn't have a coach when we won, I think. I mean, I truly don't think a coach is needed in terms of hey guys, we need to play the game like this because this works. I think players can put their heads together and figure that out themselves. I think what you said, Ian, is more logical. I think it's more so just having a guy to make sure everyone's mentally all together on the same page. Mm-hmm. And I think throughout my career as a player, that was something I took on myself a lot, making sure all my guys on the team were all in on the same goal together, focused. And I think if a coach could do that really well, it could help bring out the most potential in players. But I don't think it's something like NFL or even NBA where you could set up plays. You could do that at Call of Duty, but the gameplay is too fast.
I'm not trying to make the coaching role irrelevant, but I think if anything, the most important thing to have in a CDL team, the sub staff, is more so the having an analyst. An analyst is very important because for a team or players of the high level that understand what it takes to win and stuff like that, having numbers from let's say practice or other teams or how you've recently performing just gives you another way of kind of reading what you're good at, what your weaknesses are, what they're good at, and allows you to kind of interpret that how you want. I think that's it. I think that's arguably more important than actually having a coach in COD. I think later down the road, where let's say COD competitively has a longer lifespan and you start seeing players like Crowder, if they're still coaching at the age of 45, right? For example, right? Yeah. You're going to have so much experience. You've seen it all that you'll actually be able to kind of maybe give younger players tips and pointers and stuff like that. But nowadays, if I look at Cap, for example, Cap is as old as I am and he's coaching players that are only a few years younger than him. Mm-hmm. They've been competing against each other for a bit. So it's not the same as an NFL coach or MLB coach, like you were saying. It's the experience is relatively the same.
I do want to add one thing because Chris, that's actually a good point. So for my personal experience, having an analyst, like you said, right, when I was playing on 100T and Chris was my coach, is I would be able to find out after X amount of scrims, Enable, you're dropping a 0.5 on Seaside Hardpoint, right? But you're at a 1.1 in all of these hills, but the second and third hill, you're at a 0.4. So I can figure out, okay, maybe I'm playing those hills wrong or whatever the case may be. But then having someone like Crowder who I can talk to, who not only has played at the highest level, was respected by all of us, he can help me fix my game in that aspect. Whereas it's good to have that as a combo. But without the numbers, I would never know that. So I think the coach is almost like the cherry on top, they tie everything together.
Yeah. And I'm not going to name drop, but I think it's equally as important as you can have a good coach. You can also have a pretty bad coach, right? Some coaches.
Oh, name drop.
I don't want to do it, but some coaches in the past, would honestly just kind of take the role of being put on by their friends and, just to have a job in a spot that really didn't make sense. Ian, you probably have been on a team before that's kind of experienced something like that.
Jesus Christ, dude.
It's just kind of and I'm not saying they don't get good at it, but that's kind of how that role develops. And that's not all coaches by any means, but that's definitely, things that have happened in the past and probably will continue to happen. But anyway, our next question, which I think is a juicy one, is it's coming from Hector Rodriguez. The question is, let's say that OpTic wins champs and Scump decides
You're
to
an idiot.
retire. It's kind of a two-parter. Who would be an ideal pickup for OpTic's fourth? And what does the COD scene look like if Seth is done, right? If he quits, there's no more Scump in Call of Duty.
There is
It's gonna
no
be
ideal
tough,
fourth
man.
because
Yeah.
COD's done. It's over there,
Well,
COD.
No, Ian, you can't be so negative, man. Somebody has to come up and take his throne, right? Like somebody's gonna fill the void. Like that's life,
No
and that's
one.
what happens.
Nope.
People fill people's voids all the time, right? Like Michael Jordan was out, LeBron James was in. I mean, you never knew who that next LeBron James is gonna be, but hopefully he's out there. If Scump could have done it, someone else could do
Bro,
it.
I'm gonna
too.
be honest.
So who do you think it'd be? Wait, I want to hear Doug. So who do you think would be an ideal fourth if
Nick
Scum
Merckx.
decided to retire? What? Yo, man.
It's got to be somebody. It's got to be somebody who can win in Call of Duty, that can be appealing to people, that can make people want to watch matches, and that is able and willing to take criticism on a public scale, which is very difficult for a lot of these players to do. You have to be able to take all of it, expect it to come, and also be able to produce good quality content that's fun, unique to yourself. And in order for that to happen, you're going to have a great system of people around you that believe and trust in you to make your mood right for that opportunity. So it's definitely possible. It's just people need to be smart
It's
about it.
simple. It's simple. It's simp. OpTic's got to just come together and throw the absolute bag at simp, and that's the only way to really continue that tradition. But to your point, I don't think. I mean, Doug, what is it? There is no filling the throne here because like there's a precedent set of what Seth's quote unquote throne looks like and how many people are watching. If he's gone, there ain't no point of filling the throne to 5 people watching, because I think that's really the story here is the drastic decline in interest overall in Call of Duty as an esport when Seth is gone. I truly do think that is going to happen.
But here's the thing, Pat. Now, I still think if OpTic is involved in the CDL without Scump, which I think they will be, there'll still be viewership for OpTic because OpTic is a big brand too. It's not just Scump, right? They go hand in hand.
I'd argue
But
we
at the
saw a
same-
big decline after Nate Shot left.
I would say it's probably,
I don't know.
I would say this might be outrageous, but I would say it's probably 70-30 in favor of Scump or like 60-40, but I don't think it's the other way. Like, I think if
Really?
Scump does retire, obviously OpTic is huge, right? But if he retired and went full-time content, more people would watch his stream, I think, than like a regular CDL match.
If
I
Seth's
truly
playing
probably.
Warzone, if Seth's playing Warzone at the same time that a Call of Duty tournament's going on, what is Seth's fans watching? If it is 70-30.
Oh yeah, they're watching Scump.
They're not watching Simp on
Okay,
OpTic.
but
I'll
at the
tell you
same
that.
time, what I was gonna say was, well, the reason why I said Nick Merckx is because I simply don't think there's just anyone that's going to be able to fill that void. Call of Duty is so different, right? The reason I'm saying that is because you can't compare it to the NBA with like LeBron and Jordan or anything like that. The NBA is huge, right? Call of Duty isn't that big. It's only big, one, in North America, but two, the multiplayer side, which is what we play, it's pretty fucking small if you think about it.
Just say
Warzone,
competitive COD.
yeah, competitive COD. Warzone dwarfs it. And I think without the fan base of those players, it's just going to continue to get even worse. And I don't think there's a role to fill there. I think if Scump retires and let's say that guy's fan base doesn't watch Call of Duty anymore, and maybe some of them will stick around for just, Call of Duty competitively, like what's the point of investing in the CDL when there's only getting 30 to 40K viewers? Yeah, it's something, but it's not. Bro, they can host Warzone tournaments that get more viewers and have players that are pulling way more viewers. Why would I invest X amount of money into a player that's not Scump, knowing they're not going to pull that, or you're taking a chance that they might eventually do so, right? With the building up their personality and stuff like that. When I can just go pick up Average Joe Woe or Nick Merckx or something like that and have a guaranteed, already established, ginormous fan base that already basically dwarfs, if not matches, the CDL in viewers and stuff like that. I think when Scump goes, the Call of Duty League is already taking a decline. It's going to get worse. I'm not saying it's going to completely die because I don't know what. I don't even know why. Technically, from like an investor standpoint, I don't even know why it's still a thing. No offense, and I don't want it to die. It just doesn't make sense. So Warzone is way more popular. So I don't know what the hell is going to happen if that happens.
I was looking this up because it kind of made me think about it. like you guys are all familiar with the WWE, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like now that a lot of those mega WWE superstars are starting to retire, the WWE ratings are going down like year over year, like declining 15, 20%. And that really doesn't surprise me, right? Like the WWE kind of was in the same boat as Call of Duty, right? It really relied, like, yeah, there was the baseline for like the entertainment factor, but it really relied on these personalities and these superstars that people got so invested in and had this big fandom in. And I think when that goes away, the baseline of just WWE wrestling isn't as exciting if it's just these new guys that you don't really care for as much, you know, wrestling.
That's the issue when players are bigger than the game.
And that's what happens in our game.
Yeah. I mean, the obvious to answer the question, it would be simp in terms of like who would be the best bet for them. But like you guys all said, I don't know. Like part of me wants to see Scump retire I'm genuinely interested in see how the league would perform. But the other half of me is scared because I feel like that could be the beginning of the end realistically. And that's a lot of weight on Scump. Like it shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, he should do whatever he wants to do, but also knowing how important, like he is a pillar of this scene. I don't know. I just feel like it's just not a good look either way you go about it.
It's just been a downside of our scene for years.
Yep.
Well, before we get into the next part of this podcast, we just want to say that this episode is sponsored by HyperX. Pick up massive discounts on your favorite gaming gear at the HyperX loot drop so you can dominate the competition like the pros. Click the link in the description before the best deals go.
Day one started with Subliners versus the Ravens, followed by Surge Boston, and then ended with Mutineers versus Guerrillas. This first series, London obviously had a fill-in for Gizmo, who was taking some personal time. They had Paul X fill-in, who looked kind of honestly phenomenal for them this whole weekend. But they're playing a very, very broken New York Subliners. So what was your guys' thoughts on this match? Anything to take away? For me, it was just kind of embarrassing for New York.
I was just looking forward to see how Paul did, because Paul's my boy, Western Gang, and he did well. He fried. He's looking good. He had a bone to pick. I think he's trying to get.
Gang? You shout out a gang and
no, bro.
Western
the Western Gang. It's just like it's our little like West Coast thing.
I'm kidding. I'll keep going. My bad.
But shout out Gersh. But anyways, so he did really well, and I think he had like a little bone to pick. I think he wants to get on that team, right? He wants to get on the CDL in general. I think he wants to sign with a team that needs help. So he obviously wanted to show out, and he did just that all week. He played really well, not only in this match but in their later match this week. And besides that, there wasn't really much to take away. It's same New York struggles. They brought back Neptune. Actually, that was the first match with Neptune back in, and I think there's a lot of people that have been pretty high on Neptune and bringing him back and giving royalty shit. And this isn't directly from Neptune, but it didn't help. He still didn't play good. I didn't really expect them to. So I don't really know what New York is doing, if they're just kind of like working on moves in the background, or they were, and they just had no other choice but to bring back Neptune, or if they actually genuinely thought keeping him was a good idea. And I feel bad for Neptune, but he's not good.
Yeah. I mean, the only really two things you could take away are Paul X looking really good. I definitely think he deserves to be a starter on a CDL team. Maybe it ends up being NYSL, but it's interesting because Chris, you probably have more insight than I do. I know he was on London last year, and in the beginning he looked really good, but then it seemed like he kind of tailed off, and that's when everyone was on the Afro hype train, and people, I don't want to say they just forgot about Paul, but Afro is kind of turning into a superstar player, right, in the league in front of our eyes. And Paul kind of slid into that. He's solid, but nothing really special. But so far, he's looked great. And I'm not sure why he didn't even get a chance this year to be a starter. That is what's mind-blowing to me. I think he definitely will get picked up sooner than later because there's a lot of teams in the league that could use someone like Paul. And then on the side of Neptune, I don't want to say this. I hate being that guy, but like his time might be coming up in the league. You know, he's had flashes of brilliance, but he's had a lot more time than some of these other young guys, and he hasn't really produced anything substantial, in my opinion. Yeah. So he needs to turn around.
Even though he's been on a bad team, like granted Florida wasn't the greatest last year and he did do pretty good on Florida later in the season, even though he joined New York and they haven't been good. Like at the end of the day, it sucks that the circumstances that he's in aren't the best, but not everyone is going to get to play with Sim. Not everyone's going to get to play with Scump, you know. Not everyone's going to be in the ideal team situation, but it's on you to kind of like realize the situation you're in and turn it up, especially as a young guy.
You can still prove your worth.
Yeah, you can still prove your worth. I mean, look at Hydra. And I'm not going to say he's Hydra, but like look at Hydra, right?
Yeah. No,
that's still disgusting. He's still playing well regardless. But the one thing I will say about Paul, and I think the reason a lot of people forgot about him is because like you said, Paul is good, but he's not really like a superstar. I'd say. I think he's a solid player. The game mode you see him shine in is Search and Destroy, and that's how he's always been. He's disgusting at Search and Destroy, and you saw that in their last match that they just recently played. And I think regardless, even if he's not a superstar, him being a solid player, I can think of a lot of players that are not very solid that are still in the league. And I don't see why he wasn't in the league in the first place. And one thing that Paul even told me, it's hilarious. He said, Challengers is fake. He was basically saying that he was like putting up like struggling in Challengers and he goes to the league and he just has such an easier time. Granted, he's playing with a good London team, right? So every time he's playing the league, he's found it a lot easier. And regardless if that's bullshit, you got to love the confidence. And I'd take the confidence.
You definitely love the confidence. That's definitely some
love the
bullshit,
confidence.
Though.
And he's not completely chalky. He's not like completely like just saying it out of his ass. He's actually, proving his worth. He played good for London. He played good in the current London team in Vanguard and Cold War. So I think he definitely deserves a shot. I think he will get one.
Paul is easily one of my favorite players that I team with on this game. I've been teaming with him until he got the London call up, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, we laughed a lot. We had a good pace. We had really good trades. I could just tell playing with him, and I play with a lot of players on Vanguard so far. It was very obvious to me that Paul has a great understanding of how to apply pressure in this game at the highest level. And to add on what you said, Chris, I think the thing that does separate Paul, because I think he's good in respawn, he's good in control. He always plays at the same consistent tempo, which makes the game easier for me, I felt personally. And I feel like he wins a lot of fights. He takes good calculated risks. He's very confident. He has a great mindset. And his Search and Destroy is just second to none, in my opinion. There's only very few players I'll say that about in Challengers. And luckily, I think, fortunately for me, I think I played with two of the best Search and Destroy players. And last time we scrimmed was on, I think, whenever he got the call up to London, was the day before that. We played one of the elite teams in Search. We 6-1 them, 6-1 them, 6-3 them, 6-5 them. Like, we beat them on every map. It wasn't even close, and then that was it. Like, he got sent off.
He's really good at Search.
So I think he's got so many first bloods, so much pressure, makes the map a lot easier to read. He definitely will be getting a call up to the league soon, I would hope and I would imagine. And I think he deserves it. And I think his mental is just great. He's just a great person to be around. He was always laughing, and if something wasn't right, if we lost a map, we lost a few maps in a row, lost a map kind of series. The way we went about it, the way we approached it, I really liked his leadership. I think he has a lot of information in his brain that people should be picking, and I think he should be getting a lot more credit than what he has right now. And I think people are like praising him, but I could just tell.
That's some great guys.
That's some great guys. I mean, we'll see. I think he'll get
in 2 weeks. I could tell he has it, man.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely get on a team, hopefully sooner rather than later. But on the other side, New York, once again, same struggles. We've talked about how we think they need a 2-person change. They have still yet to deliver this entire week. I don't know what's going on with those guys, but they continue to look terrible. Anyways, okay, so moving on to the second match. Who do we got? Who do we got a second match?
Dude, they were all pretty boring. It was Boston and Seattle. Which, I mean, dude, Boston's solid. I know I've said this a bunch of times that I thought they were overrated. I need to give them the respect they deserve. I still don't think that they can be a top team, but they definitely are tiers ahead of like the bottom 5 to 6 teams. Like I think they're in a solid tier of their own. Seattle, I already know how Pat feels about it, even though we'll talk about their series with FaZe. They're so inconsistent for me. It makes no sense. Like I honestly can't wrap my head around it at all. But I feel like that's an issue with a lot of teams in the league right now.
I agree.
I don't know. I wouldn't buy stock in Seattle Surge by any means. I think they've had their moments, and yeah, we can.
They've been lower, Pat. They've been lower.
That's true. When they had you on the team, that stock was almost getting delisted.
Buy low, sell high, baby.
So they lost to the Breach. Didn't look good at all, and then they turned it around. They beat FaZe, but to me, the FaZe win wasn't anything crazy. I mean, they got that game 5 map 2 win, which obviously stopped them from getting 3-0'd because they otherwise would have. It was around 11. And yeah, the control could have went either way, but I don't know. This team doesn't show me enough. They never have in any of their wins outside of the kickoff. Have they ever showed me any type of dominant win? It was always like we're talking about Lamar clutching up, like coming down to the wire series. And then outside of those series, they're just getting smoked. And it's kind of been a repeat story for me. I do think this phase shows a little bit of life out of them. And I think if you guys saw the interview, what Lamar said, he was like, we had a big talk, I think, after they lost to the Breach, and they were just like, look, we got to just forget what we know and just kind of play how we feel naturally and like trust our gut. So maybe things turn around for them, but for me, I'm still thinking that we'll see another week where maybe they have some close games and then back on the struggle bus. But I don't know if you guys have any different opinions. That's kind of just always going to be the case for me.
I still believe in Seattle, Pat. I mean, I stuck with them in the beginning of the year, and they're going through a rough patch now, and I'm going to stick with them to the end. I mean, look, dude, like I've seen so many highs and lows as a player in Call of Duty. I've been a part of a team that stuck for an entire year and didn't win anything, and then won the biggest tournament when it was all said and done. There's nothing in my mind that says that Seattle can't turn it around and they can't win. And yeah, like they're getting fried. They're losing. They look bad. It's Call of Duty. I've seen every player in the history of the game look like that. And I didn't really see it much for FaZe until at times this year in certain series, right? Because that's just Call of Duty and they're humans too. I think Seattle definitely has what it takes. And I think teams just got to figure out how to play the game still. And I think it's changing still. I think a lot of teams look at the game in a traditional way, and then a lot of teams are catching up and realizing, oh, it's pubs. I need to run forward, and I need to run forward fast. Except it needs to be, I know what you're thinking, Ian, but it needs to be controlled chaos. I mean, that's just what it is. And I watch a lot of it, and this old school traditional rotating, it might work next year. It might have worked last year. It doesn't work this year. If you do that, you're going to struggle. And I think that's a huge reason why New York is struggling right now too, just on a side note.
I definitely think Seattle has potential, but I agree with Pat, Doug, where they can turn around, but they need to get like a decisive, convincing win. Even though, they do. If you beat Atlanta FaZe, it doesn't matter if you 3-0 them or you 3-2 them round 11. That is a good win, right?
Yeah.
For any team in the league.
Yeah.
But like looking forward to their next matches, they have pretty tough 2 games. They play OpTic and LAG next week. Like one of those series probably would come against LAG. They need to get a convincing win. Like I want to see a 3-0 or 3-1. I don't want to see another round 11 win in S&D, goes to a game 5. And I want to see them bully a team because they have the potential. They have the talent. Mac, who I think is very underrated right now. I think he's the best player on their team. I think he is, a top 15 player in Vanguard probably. Like he's been playing very well and very consistent, and no one seems to talk about him, but that's also because Seattle just hasn't looked too hot. But I don't know. They just need to go win. As simple as that. They need to go win.
No, I agree with you. And like you said, they're in a situation where like people are harping on them and stuff like that. Like don't even speak about roster changes because you look at the team right now, and granted, they aren't performing well. I don't think they're performing well as a team. I can't really sit there and be like, oh, this guy's the issue. This guy's an issue. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where they're all performing bad at different times, sometimes together. And but you look at their team and you look at their ceiling and you understand it's like, oh, wow, we have high ceiling, but we just need to put together and be somewhat consistent. But like you were saying, yeah, they can't have the LAG effect from Cold War where they beat Atlanta FaZe and then just go and look terrible for the rest of the year.
Exactly.
You can't say, oh, Seattle's back, right? Like Pat was saying, don't invest in Seattle stock yet. You gotta just be more consistent. You gotta show us more. But I mean, that's a good way to start it, by getting that Atlanta phase win. But anyways, we were talking
helps
about
the morale.
It's definitely better than a loss.
Yeah,
true.
it helps the morale.
True. But we were also talking about how Boston breached. That we actually forgot to mention that series was a series where we saw Cap drop 4, right? That was it,
Record,
right?
yeah, notorious
I heard it was
CAP.
68 EKIA.
Yeah, 68 EKIA, 54 kills. That guy had himself a map. He literally was bocaging around Bocage.
This is what we were talking about, though. This is Cap's first year in the league, right? And he's had his highs and his lows, but like he's showing glimpses of what he could potentially be. Like even if Boston Breach wasn't doing that well, like he's proven himself a decent amount already in the league, whether it be from SND or just the fact that he has potential to really take over games. So I think he's been honestly lights out for the Boston team.
Definitely a lot better.
Methods has been playing solid. Like they're a lot better than I gave them credit for. I know I said that. I thought they were the most overrated team in the league because when you look at their team on paper compared to a lot of the other teams, they don't look like they would be anywhere above the 8th spot, in my opinion. And that might be generous on paper, but
the only reason you're saying that though, Ian, is because Nero and Cap to you were question marks. You don't know. You technically didn't know their potential when Cap is starting to show, how good he can be. And whether he's not going to drop 54 every game, but whether he keeps, being consistent, showing his improvement in respawn, continuing to dominate and search and destroy. Then when you start to kind of familiarize yourself with Nero and Cap's potential, I think that's when you'll be able to kind of look at them and be like, okay, this is where I can put them. I kind of understand this team now, because before it was just question marks, rightfully so. Right.
But, yeah, no, that's fair. But I guess the way I look at it is even if those two say were like superstars, when you look at a lot of the top dogs in the league, they have some have 4 superstars on their team, or at least like 3 known superstars. Whereas no disrespect to Tej or Methods, like they're not superstar players, very good players. They've been around the league for a while now. Yeah. But so like if you already kind of cross off 2 as being superstars, respectfully, I just feel like it's so hard to really gauge their team. But yeah, they look good. They look a lot better than the teams below them. So I definitely take back what I said. They are not the most overrated team in the league. And watch, now I say that, they're about to just start losing everything.
Well,
imagine that one.
Speaking of overrated teams, we get into the Los Angeles Guerrillas against the Florida Mutineers. So this is the last match on Friday. They get 3-0'd, and then they wake up and they play Paris Legion first thing on Saturday, and they 3-0 them. So I don't know. To me, I don't know what the fuck to think with this Guerrillas team. They are all over the place.
This isn't a coin, but
yeah, literally, like that's how I feel about this team. Like their matches are just a legit coin flip. We did see Slasher start to improve.
He had a good series versus Paris.
In that Paris series, yeah, he actually had a Slasher series. But he got shit on the day before against Florida. So I don't know. It's still the problem to me is like, why is Asum the best player on this Guerrillas team? Like
because he makes moves. It's what we said. It's what we said though, Pat, or what Doug said specifically is because this isn't taking away anything from any of the teams that are performing well right now. But I think the players who I guess thrive or really succeed in very structured gameplay. Right, you would look at someone like Slasher, okay, someone like Octane, someone like Gunless. Yeah, you can name players. That's where they really thrive. Like you have to have controlled chaos in this game, and there's a way to understand it and a way to kind of use it to, your advantage. But for some players, it just completely hurts them, and I think that's what we see. Like, bro, Slasher didn't just wake up one day, or Gunless didn't just wake up one day and lose all gun skill. Okay, but their minds are so in the structured gameplay, and they're trying to force a structured gameplay where you really can't. Like you have to become one with the chaos.
You have to reprogram your brain to play, and that's just the thing that this is just a little bit off topic, but that's just the thing about COD. Every year it changes, and you don't know if you're going to go from playing in a Vanguard MW style Call of Duty to a Cold War, right?
Mhm.
To jetpacks. So it makes
gotta
being
adapt.
a pro at Call of Duty so hard. And for some people, it takes a little bit longer. It's not I'm not a fan of that either, where it's like, oh, you're just washed. It's like, bro, these people don't just forget how to play the game. For some people, it's they're trying to adapt. Some people just don't want to adapt. They just like they're set in their ways. They
and even with
despise
that
the game, and it just affects people's differently, man. It
even
really
with that
does.
adaptation, like you don't enjoy it, right? Like some players just naturally won't enjoy that chaotic style of Call of Duty. Like that's just
Slasher hates it. We all know
for
Austin
sure.
hates it.
You know, Clay hates it. Like it's just it's just kind of this logic of like some players just don't enjoy it. And I think Vanguard, it's kind of gotten to the point where this is like the most chaotic we've ever had a competitive COD play, right? Like, has there ever been one that's more than this?
No, this game
that's
definitely is a lot more
crazy
mixy.
because we played 5v5 Modern Warfare.
Yeah,
We played 5v5 COD in general.
bro.
Yeah.
But the thing is, domination kind of was helping out.
You're not. I mean, shit, you're
Slowed
not
it
wrong.
down a little bit, but yeah.
I mean, dude, you just got to look at like this game and how it plays. Like, think about a map like Bokage. Think about Bokage P2 to P5 or P4 to P5. It goes barn to BS&D. How long, if we timed it from getting from like the door of barn to the top of plat at gate, it might take 2.5 seconds.
2 hops this time.
Max.
Yeah, right. Like literally, like I could literally. Like, I remember the beginning of the game when I played with my first team, because I always, and as a person who has won majors at the beginning of games and also at the end of games, I always felt that, and I don't know why I said the end of games, I'll just toot my own horn, so roast me for that. But like at the beginning of games, I always thought the best way to learn is to be overly aggressive. Like like S&D, I'm rushing to a bomb. Come stop it. I'm
Well,
gonna plant the bomb.
Hold on. Before I interrupt you, just let's preface this that Jimbo, he's not talking to you. He's talking about.
Oh my god!
I'm saying, like you got to be over aggressive, and I would do it a lot in the beginning of this game, and I'd have like my teammates be like, "We have to rotate and go to the setup, man," and I'm like, "Dude, when we're rotating, we're losing maps. Like, can we not, please?" Like I would think it, I wouldn't say it, but like, because they would just sound stupid. Because who doesn't rotate at hardpoint? I'm like, dude, like I don't know. I remember last time I hit P4 on Bokage and I popped a 2-piece, and then I knew the 2 spawned out, and then I shot the other one in the side because you got in a gunfire with him, and then before I knew it, I was on a 15 kill streak. Like I was on every other map. Like
Dogs is dropping nukes.
Go. Yeah, it's dude. Why do you think players like Capsidal have shown greatness, or why do you think players like I don't even know. Just I think Capsidal's the best example I could use, to be honest, because he's new to the CDL. He doesn't have a history of being a great structured Call of Duty player, and he shows glimpses of being one of the best subs in the league right now. Right, like he just dropped 54 kills. So
This game definitely benefits you from playing very loosely. But before we diverge too much from the topic, let's get back on topic, and we can talk about Florida, because Florida, they did 3-0 the Guerrillas, and I don't think a lot of us had that happening. But also, they looked good this week.
They went 2-0, 6-0 map
They went
count.
2-0. Granted, they played Guerrillas in New York, who were struggling. They were dominant victories, which is the best part about it, because it wasn't like they just
twice.
They did twice.
I don't understand how, by the way. That's what we need to talk about. I mean, look, Florida, we've said this, like Florida, they are a team that has potential because we've seen it, they're just so inconsistent. So give them their respect, even though the 2 teams they played weren't that good. But talking about coaches and everything, how is Bokaj in both series? It's their best hardpoint map. And I know NYSL
6-2, Ian, and they can't even get wins on the other maps.
Like, make it make sense to me, because it's not like these teams that they're playing. It's not like these teams that they're playing, NYSL and LEG, like they're at the top of the standings. Like they need every single win to get these points.
I think this is when we bring up the convo, kind of like how we talked about in the beginning with coaches. There were some goddamn bad coaches out there. What are they doing?
Who's the LAG coach?
It's Ricky Bevels and
you gotta Pat. What are they doing? You know them.
You know that I don't know what they're doing, son. They've had some struggle years in the CDL, but dude, that's just it's
unacceptable. That's
a bonehead move, right? It's a bonehead move. Same thing with, and I guess we won't really necessarily say as bad for New York, because we believe they've just kind of chalked the roster at this point. But even then,
it's
like
still bad.
D-Real, Revan, and JP. JP is one of the best analysts in the league. I know he sees that Florida's 6-2 on Bokage and negative on every other map. Why are they picking that map? I don't know.
Crim
dude.
overruled it because he knew he was running a sub. That's why he said, "No, fuck it, we're playing Bocage."
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not
bro,
playing no Gavutu with no sub.
No,
players have input, but these coaches are doing the vetoes for the teams. So
True.
I have no idea.
We joke about it, but like we're like, dude, why are we not on retainer? It's like people not watch the show, or like do like pros not watch the show, or do people just not take any sort of warrant into like our opinions? Like I don't understand it, because we sit here and we tell people like what is going on, and they continue to make the same mistakes, and it continues to produce the same result. I think it's hilarious. I don't really understand why it happens, but it's funny. It's funny to see the teams keep making the same mistake.
Just veto the map.
And you know what they're going to say?
Especially in a game with this map pool. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
Ian.
you're
the
good.
map pool's so small. Like you're not missing anything out by not playing that map.
You're definitely not, because it's Bocage, first off.
Bocage.
But like, I know we don't see these teams scrim records, right? And whatever, or maybe they scrim Florida and they beat them 4 times in a row on Bocage. But it's like, bro, none of that matters when it comes to playing official matches. Like, none of that matters. It's just simple. This team is good at one hardpoint map. We have a veto. We could take their one map away. Like, I don't care if we beat them 250-10 the day before on the map. Just veto it and move on. Like, it's mind-boggling to me.
Especially when these teams that we're talking about that like structure are playing Bocage, like Austin and Gunless.
You put Slasher and Gunless on Bocage up against Big Wake and Vivid, just literally running laps around them.
Not even needing to rotate, just hitting all scrap time, doing whatever they want. Yeah.
Well, Florida did look good. They did.
Honestly, that's just like, at that point, like, it's just embarrassing. If you're these teams and you're allowing that map to get in, like, yeah, Florida played great, but that's just embarrassing that like you're in the position you are on a CDL franchise and you're making mistakes that, like, if challengers teams had vetoes, they're not making that mistake.
I think the biggest thing to me that I didn't understand throughout all of the matches and just going, it has to do with New York, is why did Neptune run an automaton on Bocage hardpoint, and why was Crim running the sub?
Supposedly, Neptune wanted to do it, right? That was the reason.
He tweeted. He said it was his idea. So he just woke up one day and was like, you know what? I think I'd be better off running the auto and make Crim a sub. And I think they said it was like a decision made literally yesterday, like the day before their game.
That's just whatever they could to make Neptune comfortable, because they know he hasn't been playing well.
Yeah, but see, that is literally the prime example of team just being chalked. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure we've all been there. I know I've definitely been there where, you know, things are not going well, and one player will make up anything. Oh, I want to run the main AR. I had Sam running a sub on Seattle Surge in Modern Warfare.
I remember that.
Sam was like, we were so chalked. We were so chalked. I had Octane trying to be like, bro, we don't have enough pressure. I'm pulling out a sub, and we were like, Damon was like, yeah, go for it. I'll run a bit. That's when you know it's over. Okay.
Dude, Damon was loving that. He was probably like, I don't gotta run around.
Damon was fine. No, yeah, Damon was fine.
Doors.
But like, they're just chalked, bro. Like, they're chalked. There's no coming back. There's no coming back for the NYSL team at this point. It's just an embarrassment.
You're a fan. Just wait it out. For now, it's just not going to be good.
Jump ship.
Hopefully they make some moves that can improve that roster. But so that is New York Subliners. But then we get into the Royal Ravens against the Thieves. And to me, this was kind of a big match for the Ravens. Obviously, they had a fill-in in Paul X, and they're going up against, let's be honest, a really good Thieves team who is not looking that good at the moment. So it was a huge win. I think it kind of just further proved London's point as how good they believe they are. And, you know, even with a sub in Paul X to fill in for Gizmo last minute, they're still a problem. They're still a top 3 team, and I think they're still on their kind of quest to deserve respect, and I think they're getting it.
They look good. I think I don't want to say they're lucky because they picked him up, but they did a good job of having Paul X as their sub. Because I saw people talking about like that was an embarrassing loss for LAT. They lost to a London team with a sub. But I don't think that was the embarrassing part, because Paul X honestly fit perfectly on that London team. I feel like him and Gizmo, they play kind of similar. Like, obviously, Paul X, they play the same role. Paul X has some strengths over Gizmo and vice versa. But the issue was LAT just got embarrassed. You know, they're known as a dominant hardpoint team, a solid respawn team all around, and yet they couldn't steal a single
Bro, they
map.
lost Gavutu, their best map.
Don't even get me started on
They
that.
got masterclass.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Like
They got
just-
Kentucky fried.
They got handled. Yeah. So I don't know. And the S&D woes continued, right, for them, like in that series.
I know it's easier said than done. Especially coming from me, this is rich, but they might be one of the most embarrassing S&D teams of all time. But for the reason, not like it's not like they're getting bodied 6-0, 6-0, 6-0. Like there's been worse S&D teams, but those guys are just getting outclassed.
They're situational.
Like LAT are losing SNDs that are relatively close, but all those situational rounds, those 2v2s, those 3v2s, those 1v1s, they just look like they have no clue what's going on.
It doesn't make fucking sense.
They have great S&D players.
They have
besides
Envoy. They have Draza, who's it was basically an S&D player. He dominated fucking S&D in Black Ops 3 for a long time, off-season type stuff. Loves S&D, right?
Mhm.
And Kenny, he's in the same boat for a while. These guys are good search and destroy players. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. I still remember when they played Ultra at the Major, and they had insight sniping on the desert side of Desert Siege, and they just had no idea what to do. Like they just need a leader in Search and Destroy. They need to revise their game plan. They need to start playing with some confidence. They need to start they just need to make better reads, bro, because like I'm looking at that round that they lost to OpTic, the final round where they're in a 3v3 situation.
Oh, brother.
And they got two people just sitting like backside A with like no information. They're just kind of sitting there and they let the plays get made on them. It just doesn't make sense. They're just not decisive. It seems like they're playing scared.
I think they're in their own heads now too.
Yeah,
they're scared to make a move now because they're not confident that it is the right move. But then it ends up just hurting them even more because then they're just sitting ducks and letting other teams run all over them.
Who cares if it's the right move? They gotta chalk that idea up. Like you saw it, bro.
Together.
When Sam was like big dicking in those 1v1s, chowing with a pistol, like that's the play that this LA Thieves team need to make. They need to be the aggressors because they have the talent. It's why they started fucking 14-2 in Hardpoint. They are talent-wise, they have a ton. They need to drop this like play by the book, play the right way, and just start making plays. Like
they gotta be the worst team at playing for picks of all time. No bullshit.
Bro, they need to literally make plays and
I think
they need to be decisive.
Every single player needs to throw a book out the window in this Call of Duty. And this comes from a guy who's played COD and I'm the only active player here. Whatever book you have on how Call of Duty's played, throw it out the window. Like Vanguard is nothing like any other game. I'd love to see Thieves play more like they do in Hardpoint. They're always, like you said, Pat, you hit it. I was waiting to see what you were going to say, Pat, and I feel like we were going to agree on a lot of these things here. Like when Draza got that one pick in your plat, think about it. You know there's going to be a guy sliding on you on that plat with the sub and you have an automaton. Your chances of winning that gunfight are probably like 40%. And that's if you hit every bullet and you're ready, but you're going to be shimmying your right as well. Get out. Just leave. Get out. Run with your pistol like how Dashy did in that one round when he like literally wrapped around the entire map and then killed, I think it was Draza who planted. And Draza was like, he like plants the bomb and he's like, okay, I'm going to slow peek around the corner to look at their church push. And there's Dashy shooting him in the butt because he thinks Brandon's going to sit in the back of the map. I don't know what happened because I used to watch Dashy's VOD in the beginning of the game. I thought he didn't move. Now I'm seeing him do things I wasn't seeing him do in the beginning of this year. And he's wrapping maps in S&D. He's looking like one of the best ARs in the game. Like seeing the way that they're playing Search. I don't know if it's Ender. I don't know if it's Rambo. I don't know if it's Shotzi because I know Shotzi said he calls some of these plays. It's how you need to play Vanguard. Teams need to start taking note of it because they're the best team in the game and they're winning.
You need to make plays before plays are made on you. The way you counter it, and I'm not going to say the game is completely RNG, but the game has a lot of variables. The way the maps are designed, it's impossible, especially on a map like Tuscan in a 3v3, unless you have a guy dedicated to watching like a lane, a pinch, and it basically makes it so your teammates on the other side of the map that aren't in that lane watching that pinch, for example, like on that defense, they're playing 3v4 if the team commits to that side, the side that guy's not on, right? So what do? You just literally have to force numbers on an area of the map and hope that you make the right play call. Sometimes you just have to basically counter aggression with aggression. That's how you play the game. It was the same thing how like on jetpacks, you benefited from being aggressive because if you were aggressive, you basically got yourself into a timing battle with the other guy rather than like letting that guy make the play on you, right? It's just the way the game works because of how poorly the maps are designed. You have to basically just funnel and like play your numbers to basically make it so like there's less plays that can be made on you. I don't know.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I mean, look, I know this is we start off by talking LAT versus London, but we can add OpTic into this. Even if you take away Vanguard, right? Just look at it as simple as you possibly can. If you get a kill, right, or you get any sort of info, okay, when Draws got the kill on Scump, for example, he's going to be calling Draws out where he killed him from, right? If you are stationary, which is how LAT plays as a whole right now, the other team knows where you're at, right? Because you're not moving. Now, if it doesn't matter what you do, if you run to the back of the map, make them use their critical thinking skills on the other team. But if you stand still and you don't make a move, you're a sitting duck. It was the same thing on that round 11 that you said where OpTic got info that Kenny and I think it was Sam or whoever were A. And they didn't move the whole time when Draws got up into church and OpTic wrapped all the way back through their spawn as a team, pushed into fire, and LAT was still sitting where the last time they had info from. Like, so they're expecting them to still be there because they're not moving. They're not making OpTic use any sort of critical thinking at all. It's the easiest reads ever.
I don't know if LAT thought that they had control of like the site because they didn't have anyone like near site, right? But they did apparently see people run away. I don't know if they thought the entire team retreat. I don't know what they were thinking. But regardless, like you're saying, they had 2 plays they had to make, or they had 1 play they had to make, rather. They literally should have just pushed to the bomb and started planning it. Or they could have like tried pushing through and like hoping that like OpTic cleared out, because like you're saying, the way OpTic is going to play it, if they're a good team, once they see you're at A, they're not going to just let you get the bomb down. They're going to try to make plays to get you off bomb, or they're going to try to make plays to counter your post plant. If they don't, you're just banking on OpTic being nervous or not knowing how to play the game. Like, you got to think of it how your team would play it, because at the end of the day, when you look at the pro league, unless you're playing a team that's significantly worse, you kind of like put yourselves in their shoes. It's like, oh, I got this part of the map and this is the info I gave them. So how are they going to counteract our position? How are they going to counteract our play? What would you do? You're going to flank, or you're going to try to retake the site. One or the other. You're not going to just sit there and be like, oh, OpTic's, not going to do anything. Let's just sit in our spawn. Like, I don't know.
We saw the right and the wrong way to play.
Yeah,
the situationals, OpTic and LAT, right and wrong.
Yeah. You know exactly what you would do in the scenario, right? So why the fuck aren't you going to play to stop that? It doesn't make any sense. It's an argument that I've had with people where it's like, in a situation, let's say you get a kill, right? And you're the person's teammate, and you see that red dot on the map. What is your play? You're either going to go push that trade, or you're going to pre-aim to wait to see if he overpeaks, right? So why is it that when you're the player that initiates and gets the kill, like you're on the reverse end, why do you go and overpeak knowing this somebody's either coming to trade you or waiting for you to peak? Why throw your life away? Why not just back up? Like, you understand the right and wrong, but you're doing nothing. It doesn't make sense.
That's a good point.
Thieves just look sloppy, dude.
To me, I don't know if you guys are doing this over in the LA.
Don't say you guys. What are you talking about? I'm not doing nothing.
I do want to see their comms in S&D, right? Like, I need to know what is happening in those rounds. Those 2 rounds we're talking about with OpTic. Like, what is the call that's being made? Because it literally, that's what I'm saying. Like, it literally looks like on the minimap, they're unplugging their controllers and just waiting for something to happen. Like, there needs to be somebody. I don't care who. You be dead or alive. Just say something, make a play. Like, so I think you're right, Chris. I think they're dead silent in those moments, and they're just like calling out, I don't see anyone, nothing here. You know what I mean? Like, calling out what, like,
dude, if they are though, Pat, they are. Because like, I'll be in their room sometimes when they're screaming at the compound, but we've all probably heard like the LAT listening, right? The one that people were gassing up Sam for, like, his communication was great. Yeah. But so, like, even though I think you're right, I just can't understand how their comms could be that good in one mode and then it just be that bad. But it has to be like they have to be that bad because they just look like there's no communication going on.
Do you know how long that wrap is? By the way, they were A side.
30 seconds.
They were A side of the map,
man.
and
30,
they
45
wrapped
seconds.
all the way through B, through green to fire.
No one even turned around on the minimap. Both arrows were locked ahead of them for 30 seconds.
They acted like they were on the other side of the wall from them.
Dude,
that's how
like-
they were acting.
Dude, all you
I
need to
thought
do
they
is
froze or
just,
something.
you know how, like, dude, you know how many times on instant plant that bomb set on Tuscan, and then I literally make a decision in my head in the moment. Do I want to? I'm never gonna immediately hit back to my side you because the guy top shirt should be holding it off angle. You will never see me doing that rookie play. But I'm either gonna plant the bomb and go Godheady and stand there for a second, look at my close push, or I'm gonna slide cancel and chow their side because the chances of me getting killed are so slim. The only player I've ever seen kill me in that situation actually is my teammate Paul X. Like he held this off angle with an AR and played for me to slide to the pillar, and I was like, oh, Paul gets it. I can't get away with doing this against someone like Paul. But I feel like a lot of players don't get that concept. Dude, if I'm Thieves there and I see them, I'm challenging that fight because it's an easy fight. And if I don't see them there, that's a lot of powerful information for my team. They're either going to close wrap your well or you're going to
go plant. You should just go plant.
Well, look,
you don't want to get caught. You don't want to get caught just sitting there, and then they're going to slide out well, go to the mid heady, and then make you weak, and then push you, and then you're dead.
Regardless of the specifics, Doug, I want your opinion, and Chris, yours and Pat's as well. Is like, dude, at this point, I don't even care about the specifics at all. Like you can make any play you want. I just want to see LAT make a well orchestrated play in the middle of those rounds.
Aggressive play.
Can I say something really quickly?
It could be anything. Like before you go, Doug, just to finish, like when that round 11, right? They could have ran back to the back of their base and like away from the bomb. I don't even care. I just want to see them do something together. They had draws on an island not moving, and then the other two not moving. Just do anything.
I'm gonna be honest. If I'm them in scrims, if I'm in them scrims for this next week, and they scrim, search, and destroy, I just wanted to see them team hitting shit. Start practicing rounds like it's Black Ops 4. No bullshit.
Agreed.
Because regardless if it works or not, at least when you get into a match, having those plays in your playbook is just going to do you better, because it seems to me like a lot of the time you saw it in the Toronto Ultra match that they played on LAN. They went up rounds when they were like pushing off the site that was towards the desert side. I don't remember if that's A or B, challenging the mid steps, draws again in those first bloods, and then they started turtling, letting Insight have their way with them. It does, like, their play style, they're such good players at search and destroy and being aggressive that like they should know better. They should be playing a lot looser, and they should stop playing this pick type play style because it's not for them. Draza, Envoy, Kenny, I don't see them as pick players.
Flash, you're not on the team anymore. Stop playing for picks and hit some.
Yeah, I see them as playmakers, bro. They are playmakers. You look at their players; they are aggressors. Start using that to your advantage. It doesn't make any sense.
So I just want to say something really quickly, and I think you guys are really going to get a kick out of this because I think I'm the only person who knows this. So I'm very close with Coach Vinny Gage, right? He's the coach of the Stallions, as we all know.
Suma's cousin.
So we all know. Yeah, we've all watched the Stallions play in the Elite. They're pretty good, right? Like, they're I think they're 1-3 right now. They've lost some game 5s, right? Like
pretty good. They're 0-4.
Are they 0-4?
No.
Oh my God, I was gonna say. I'm pretty sure they're 1-3, but they lost 2 game 5s. Anyways, Texas Nation is on a 5-peat in the Challengers, and they only in the Challengers Cups. They won the last 5. They're 4-0 in the Elite. They won the last Elite, and they've won the last 5 tournaments in Challengers. They've officially become the best Challenger team of all time. They dropped 2 maps in this tournament. One was in the Grand Finals, and they lost 3-1. You want to know the other map they dropped in this tournament? It was to the Stallions, and Kaiser on the Stallions had a wedding. So you know who played for Kaiser? Vinny Gage. He is, and he's my good friend. I have not seen many players as bad at Call of Duty as Vinny Gage. Like, as in terms of we're talking talent here, okay?
That is facts. I can actually vouch.
Vinny Gage is one of the least talented Call of Duty players I've ever seen in my life in terms of like, and he's not a player, he's a coach. He beat Texas Nation in a map. You want to know why? I watched the VOD. It was Tuscan Search and Destroy. Vinny Gage called strats on his team. He said 4-hit B every offense. 4-hit, and on defense, he would 4-hit bottom well to middle. Every single round, and they beat Texas Nation on the map 6-4. It just shows you, push things as a team and don't split up. One player could do a pinch. One player can do a hold on one side of the map. The other 3, go. It's not a bad play. I'd rather have you die running at something than sitting there like an iron boots. It really grinds my gears when I see players sitting there like that, man. Like,
You're not
It
wrong.
doesn't work on this
You're not
game.
wrong.
It just
Yeah.
simply,
Something
I watched
small.
Vinny Gage beat Texas Nation in a map, bro. They only dropped 2 maps. It's
Your
crazy.
boy's
Gage,
catching a
put
stray.
his
Vinny
perspective.
Gage
This is my
catching
boy,
a
Oh,
stray.
he's not
Gage.
catching a stray. He's my boy.
Vinny is so bad in league play. He's going like triple negative, like double, triple negative, like all the time. Anyways,
All right, let's stop
He
moving
didn't
forward.
even shoot his gun.
Moving
He
forward.
didn't even shoot his gun,
we
and they
get
won
it,
the
we get it,
map.
we get it. He's horrible.
You're
Jesus.
crazy. No, he
Oh
literally
my
didn't shoot his
God.
gun,
Just
Pat. He
catching
didn't
strays
shoot
left
it.
and right. I
He
understand.
didn't
but
shoot. I
shit.
watched the bot with him.
Man's
He
got to
didn't shoot.
sleep tonight. Like he's gonna see
He
this.
literally
no,
didn't
he
shoot
doesn't care.
back.
He doesn't care. He
didn't
knows.
shoot
He
back,
knows.
Pat.
One thing I want to say, and I want to get your guys' quick opinion on: should Envoy stop running the bomb or carrying the bomb? I feel like every time he dies, the round collapses.
100%. Give the bomb
They
to
lose,
Sam. No, imagine.
bro. They lose.
They won't
all
never
direction.
get planted with Sam. I
They
agree.
lose all direction when Envoy dies. Like that round, Envoy's the one who died, and it was just Kenny and Sam just staring with ARs in the back of the map. Like
You gotta
it's
give
a
it to
small
like
thing,
Kenny or
but I
Jaws
think
or
they should.
something. No
Yeah.
bullshit.
because I feel like Envoy's almost a playmaker, and like
It should probably go to Draws, I would say, just because I feel like he also goes the most rogue, so that could help reel him in on offense. But yeah, you give it to Sam, then LAT will be dead last in bombs planted.
All right. ROKKR against Ultra. This is next up. Ultra ended up winning 3-1.
Yeah.
And I think this was
Nothing
an Ultra
new.
bounce. This is an Ultra bounce back.
They
right?
won 2
had
hard
that-
points.
Yeah, they had that really slow streak of just getting fucking smoked in hard points, and they come out and they looked really good in both. Given obviously ROKKR is not that great of a hard point team sometimes, but for me it was good to see. Ultra obviously is one of our more well-rounded teams that we talk about in terms of all the modes, and obviously they hadn't really put together their hard point at the event, but to me it was a good bounce back, and I think they're going to be one of the biggest teams to look out for in stage 2 in this major.
You meant Ultra, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, you said
Um,
ROKKR. You're good. Just want to
Oh,
clarify.
my bad.
Just want to clarify that for the viewers because I was like,
Min Ultra, my fault. They're one of the teams that's really well rounded in all modes, and they kind of lose sight and go, have those streaks where they lose in a row. But
I think. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Pat.
No, you're
but I think the only thing that we need to take away, because yeah, Toronto did bounce back in the hard points, but we know Toronto's a top team in the game. Like they're gonna figure it out, whatever.
top
but
4
this
got a respawn win or a hard point win.
exactly. That's your CDL 2022 champs. But Minnesota, they did the role swap, and I think realistically, the only thing that we should talk about in this series and even their series versus Paris is it's not going to change much, like at all. And I think for not only against the Ultra, but even against Paris, it's been proven. I know it's only been 2 series. It's just pacing issues. Minnesota is not going to be a contender, whether or not attaches on an AR, on a sub, or on the bench. It's not going to change. They need
I do
to
think
act.
it expanded their map pool though. It won't make them better or worse, but I do think it lets them play more maps.
Oh, let's go. We don't have to play the same map every series. No. I mean, look, because they also played Paris, okay? And they should have lost that series. Like, it's not helping. They need to make a roster change.
True though, that map one.
I mean,
I agree with you. I think they could. This
Paris
team
also
can-
had a player drop a .49 in the
Yeah, that
series.
was
So,
nuts.
okay,
Bro,
so
call
Paris
me
played
crazy.
3v4.
This is the one team who can at least see this roster out for the entirety of Major 2, right? Like we talk
Minnesota?
about these other teams. Yeah, I think
Well, they
can
kind of
at
have
least-
to. It's their major, but
Right. Yeah, that is true. That's a good point. But I think even if it wasn't, I think they can afford to kind of test the waters the entire major. But for other teams like New York and some of these other rosters that I feel like need a change right now, ROKKR isn't that urgent for me because I feel like they're still really good at S&D and they still push series game 5. They're just so fucking consistent. And I had a stat too. I don't have it in front of me, but their hard point record is terrible. But most of those losses come in game 1. And all of their hardpoint wins come in game 4. So I don't know why that's a thing, but
makes sense. Look at what they did last year. They have some of the iciest players. They have the greatest Call of Duty comeback in Call of Duty history.
That might be an esports history comeback. I don't know. That was absurd.
That's fair. But so it makes sense. But then again, it's like, how can you, if you want to keep the same team, how does Brian Saint have to tell them, yo, we're down 0-2 before they load up map 1 in a series? Like, yo, we cannot lose this or we lose the series. But that's actually interesting.
Call me crazy, but I think they need a 2-person swap if they want to be competitors. I don't think it's a one-person deal.
That is wait, really?
No,
Who,
I don't think
though?
I don't think it is. I don't.
I think
it can go multiple ways. I just think,
they just
and it's
move-
not because they're bad. It's not because some of the players that they're going to be swapping out are bad. It's just that like in combination, they don't have enough. They don't have enough slaying power, man.
Wait, I have a
don't.
question. You think? Oh, okay.
Bro,
Never
they're
mind.
good at
I'm just
search,
gonna-
but they just don't get as many kills as other teams. Period. Like, and Standy's really good, but he even slowed down. He's not in Cold War form. He's still good, but he's not in Cold War form. Attach is the best player on their team. Preston, even in Cold War, didn't look good statistically in terms of Preston standards because Priest used to be a star.
I will say
He did. He has, but he's still not the same. Like if you were looking at current results, like they look like they just need more slaying power. And even Major Maniac, I don't even think is a bad player. I don't think he's playing terrible. They just, if they want to start winning hard points, they got to get their slaying power up, because for me, it just doesn't look like they don't have the slaying power to compete with the other teams. So even if they do relatively get good at hardpoint, they're just going to get outclassed in their Slayer performances. I think they need a 2-person swap, and I don't know where or who or what they're going to get if they ever do something like that. But their respawn just needs an overhaul. And the only way they overhaul that, I don't think it's going to be a role change. I think the role change is a band-aid on a temporary situation. I think they're going to have to make a 2-person swap if they want to get better at respawn. Whether their S&D suffers, who knows? But
this should be the first team to commit to the like one team in S&D and one team in respawn.
Bro, I'm not even kidding.
No, yeah, no lie.
That actually might not even. I mean, it's never going to happen. But seriously, because I hate looking at it, because I don't really know where they would start. Just like Seattle, right? They're on a completely different spectrum, but just like Seattle, it's like you look at their team, they have a high ceiling in their own right. Look at ROKKR, they have a high ceiling in Search and Destroy. Their Search and Destroy is so good, and that is the sad thing, is that's the only reason this team is still together. If that game mode they were like average at, they would not be a team.
That's a fact. Yeah, they would have broken.
Their S&D is so fucking good that it's like one of those things where it's like, where do you start? Because if you get rid of Major Maniac, in my opinion, he's a big key into why their S&D is pretty consistent. I heard he's like one of their leaders, right? So you would potentially lose out in Search and Destroy. You get rid of, let's say, Attach, not because Attach is bad, but because Attach, his role, that right, it's kind of like conflicts, right? You would actually you would have to keep him as like an AR, or you'd have to swap him out as a sub. He's kind of uncomfortable. They would get worse in respawn because he's probably one of their only things, and Search and Destroy because he's obviously one of their best Search and Destroy players. You can't get rid of Standy because he's a superstar, even though he hasn't been playing up to Standy standards. And then Preston, it's like, I feel like if you look at someone,
son, you want to wipe the whole team.
No, it's one of those things where
he's going down the line.
You don't know who to get rid of. In my opinion,
it's easy. To be honest, if we really want to talk about it, I think you get rid of Major Maniac. Unfortunately, I don't think he deserves to be dropped. But if we're talking about trying to be a contender, you lose some S&D strength for sure. And then depending on if Priesta wants to be that sub with Standy or the flex, you just find someone to fill in, like an actual player who can match the pace. I think that's the issue. I don't think you necessarily need a 2-person swap. I just think the issue is right now
alone is the issue in terms of why their respawn is bad and their roles.
No, you can get rid of Attach if you want. One of those.
I'm not saying get rid of Attach. You really think it's one of those?
I'm saying one. Yeah, it's one.
I love Priesta, but I think Priesta might be. I think it might be Major Maniac and Priesta.
Like, look, this is hypothetical.
He's saying bring in speed. So let Preston flex, let Attach main, and bring in some fucking
speed.
I was looking at pure
happen.
Stats. So.
No. So look, this probably wouldn't happen. I think this team would be 10 times better off rip if, say, they traded Major Maniac to LAG for ASIM, for example, and you have Priesta run the flex, ASIM and Standy run the subs, Attach on the main AR. Because LAG wouldn't do it, but then the pacing would actually make sense. Their pacing is just dog shit. It's worse in the league. They're slow team. Another player.
They'd be a problem.
They would be disgusting.
This is the thing, though. It's like, as much as I want to say I see Attach do well with an AR because he is good AR. You actually think that Attach could be a good main AR
in Vanguard? Yeah, in normal COD,
it's
maybe
still
not.
Hard for me to see that, bro. I always would see him as like, okay, if he's gonna run an AR, he's gonna be a flex,
bro,
which I think is fine and respectable.
You didn't hear
could-
Doug. You didn't hear
could
Doug.
definitely do it, man.
Doug said, "Fuck a rotation, baby. Dylan don't need to hold no spawns. Go get some
Look,
kills."
Best way I could describe it, like this is how people think about Call of Duty Vanguard. It's Berlin P1. It's going P1 to P2, and there's 20 seconds. You spawn back P4. If that first guy is going trains and trying to cut off P2, and your team has nobody at P1, you're making the wrong play, in my opinion. You should be going and hitting P1, getting those kills, and the last guy off spawn should hit the rotation, because if you hit the old hill and get the kills on the hill, you're going to be in fire. They're going to spawn docks. You're going to kill them, and then the guy going around the back is going to be back trains as you're getting those kills, and you're sandwiching P2, and they're spawning out again fire.
Yeah, it
It's a
rewards
great
you for
play.
hitting scrap and aggression on certain hills.
Go.
Alrighty,
So-
well, that's the ROKKR. They 3-2'd Legion.
They look good. They look good, too. I feel like we always say that they need to make a roster change, and they always find ways to win series. I mean,
Look good. They're
They
playing. He
should've
had
won
a
map
point
one.
49, Doug.
they should have won map
3-2.
1.
And somebody went neg 52 in a series.
That-
though. Like,
wait,
yeah,
that's
they got the
something-
Win, but that's not impressive.
Yeah, they don't look good. We already discussed how we feel about them. Paris, Jimbo.
Look, we don't even need to talk about a series, Chris. We don't even need to talk about the one thing that I want to talk about, and I want to get your guys' opinion, because we're basically done with all the matches. Is Jimbo? I didn't get hate for it, right? But I made a tweet, said he was like the Grim Reaper. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have gassed it that hard, but from damn near everyone I talked to, people said Jimbo was a very good player, right? A very good player, one of the best SMGs in the game, especially from other players that have never touched the league, right? So like Cole Havoc's not in there, Kismet, none of those guys that are on the best challengers team. And then he goes in his 2 matches, it's only been 2 matches, and he's looked horrible. He single-handedly costed Paris. Single-handedly costed him. You could say whatever you want. We win that series if any one of us are playing for Jimbo. We win that series. He looked lost. And I'm not trying to disrespect him, but what I want to talk on is 2 things. One, when you get an opportunity to go to the league, you have to prove yourself very fast. You don't have time. Like if Jimbo has another bad weekend, it might be over for him. Like it's that quick. Like Fellow or whoever else might get an opportunity. But also, I just want to talk about how like I feel like so many challenger players think that they are the next Afro, the next Simp, and they see them play. They have no idea that 99% of the shit they get away with in the Challenger series, you will get disrespected for. Like it will just not work against the top teams.
And aside from him, not having if he doesn't have another, doesn't perform in these next matches, I feel like he's already almost, like, it sucks to say, but like those players on that Paris team have already kind of lost confidence, right? Like he had 2 pretty much stinker back-to-back days, and like unless he comes out and drops a 1.5, like even if he comes and has like a 0.9 and they lose, like there's still no confidence in that team. Like none of those players are like, oh, like he'll turn it around. Like that would have been back-to-back shitters. And I think they're just
a booger almost just came out of my nose when you said that.
And that's just the reality of Call of Duty teams nowadays, right? Like it's very competitive. You don't have that big of a window to be ass and the team just lose because of just how these qualifiers work. Majors happen, you start in losers. They want to avoid that. And on the flip side of that, we're getting a pretty good temp. I'd say we're getting one of the better temps that we've had in the last few years.
100%.
If not the best since the CDL has started. I think there was like a stat where he's only had 1 negative series, and it was versus FaZe, and it was like a 0.94. So like Donnie's playing really well, and you could probably make the argument that John could have been flopped for Fellow or however you want to do it, but overall Tim's been good. He's been consistently good. I think Tom Gravity's, aside from 1 or 2 bad games, he's been pretty good. So I think this team is in a position where if this doesn't improve fast, they need to make another change. And it sucks because they fully released Desi and Fellow, so they would have to pick up a brand new player on a brand new contract.
Yeah, I think what they were going for was aggression, but I could have told you, and it's not to rag on the guy, but I played against him in Challengers, and I didn't get to play against him in this game, but that guy plays very aggressive.
Almost thinks he's a Beezy.
Too aggressive, like more aggressive than a Beezy. I don't care. That guy's statistic. That guy's statistics when it comes to engagements is an anomaly in itself. And I didn't want to be the one to say it, but I was telling people I don't think this is the right thing. I don't think his play style would work in the league. And he proved me correct. And it sucks because I don't like. It's not like I don't like the guy.
You want to see the young guns like you.
Yeah, it's like everyone wants to get their shot, man. I respect it, but at the end of the day, like he's got a lot of fixing up to do if he wants to be competitive, if he wants to play better, because his play style doesn't work. In the league, you saw it. Like the guy literally just holds his left stick forward, almost like to a detriment, and it's not a good way to play. And I feel like there's just a lot of other players they could have tried to go with. I don't know. They're just not doing the research. I don't know if there's stigma behind other players, but like the results in challengers speak for themselves, right? You look at Texas Nation; those guys are a really good challenger team. Colt Havoc, Kismet, Brezzy, Jordan General; those guys are disgusting. You look at players like Johnny, new up and coming player, kind of just how like Capsidal had his stunt. And then you look at even like Nicky D, who just got signed or Classic, who just got signed to Seattle. Like that guy's also been pretty good in challengers. There's just so many other options. People aren't doing the research. But like I said, I just didn't think it was going to work. I think he's going to end up getting replaced at some point. It sucks. And also, lastly,
it's business, right?
It's business, yeah. And I feel bad for Donnie because or Temp, he had the stigma with him where he was a bad teammate. And even on stream, sometimes you get a glimpse of him getting really a little too passionate, where he's definitely frustrated. And I see how that could rub people the wrong way. But dude, I feel bad because he's been really good this year, but he was also pretty damn good at Cold War as an individual when he swapped to using an AR. And I think he got dealt a bad hand.
You can help some teams.
From a skill perspective, he's really good, man. I think he deserves to be on a better team or to at least try to, somehow bring this Paris team up if he gets the right pieces around him, because he's a very good player.
I look at Donnie. I remember being his teammate on the New York Subliners, and we all know how that went, right? I could confidently say with Don, I don't care what the guy thinks about me. I don't think he likes me at all, and I really couldn't care less. Dude's a freaking animal at Call of Duty, man. And it's kind of crazy to me how he, like, the only chip he has is that one online chip in MW. Like, I watched a lot of their scrims back then. Very good, consistent player. And the only issue with him really was the attitude. And I've seen him over these years. I've seen him I watch everything. I've seen him play S&D chows with players, and they're doing some of the most ridiculously like stupid things. And I'm like, I know Don's about to lose full. And I could see he wants to. And I could see he's like, it's almost as if I feel like he uses those things in order to build his composure up. Like, I swear, because I've seen his composure get better as time went on, and I see the hands he's being dealt, and I see the way he's handling it from the public eye, and I think he's doing a great job, and I think he just needs to stay the course because he's been playing some great Call of Duty for years now.
He might need to calm it down with the mannerisms, though, because I do think everyone sees his personality come out. It's nothing that's wrong with that. He wants to win.
I don't agree with you.
It is. No, because the thing is, I'm not saying his passion doesn't need to shine through. I just know that for a fact, like when you start like sighing or like doing this type of stuff, like where you're just really
he's
frustrated.
Doing that when his teammate went neg 52. I'd be doing this too.
I get it. This is coming from someone that has had the similar stigma with teammates and stuff like that. It's doing you no favors.
It's just easy to be nice when you're winning. It's easy to be nice when you're winning. And everyone's frying. It's easy to have more like, dude, I've been in the ringer and challengers. I play with Paul X, Venom, and Sheen. I'm beating teams 250 to 25 on Gav HP. We lose a map and I'm chilling. I'm happy. Like, it's all good. I'm not happy, but it's like, all right, guys, let's get them in the next one, But when you're on a bad team and you're losing every map, you're gonna get pushed to the limit. And I definitely reason with Donnie there.
The point is to, like, not everybody is gonna be a TP, right? Like, not everybody is gonna be a very calm voice of reason. Like very,
I thought you were about to disrespect me.
No, like even kill delivery person. Like, you have to have people on the team who are high octane, full of passion, like get people fired up. Like that has to exist in an environment. I think, Chris, the one thing you're kind of spotlighting is just delivery when things are going bad. That's really the one thing. But like, to your point, like, anybody's going to be frustrated if you lose like a game 5 when your teammate just got absolutely world started, you were frying. Like, that's just going to happen. But
yeah.
And I think we've seen it in their listen-ins, right? Like, sometimes it seems complaining. I feel like he's tried to calm it down a bit, but I think we're always going to have those passionate players. They're going to exist. And I don't think we can kind of harp on them. I think it's just their personality.
I'm not harping on him. I just want to make sure that he doesn't. I'm just giving him a little reminder here if he's watching, or just not take it too over the top, because I've been in that situation. Just make sure that no matter what is going on, just keep your head on straight, and you're on a good path. and you want to stay on that path. Just always remind yourself because you're doing good right now.
Bro, I want to get your opinions on this because I don't know if I'm being like an old man, like get off my lawn, or hating on the
hell are you
youngins.
about to ask?
Well, okay, it's just I see every year, and dude, I'm gonna sound salty, but I'm not. I promise.
Good.
It's like people talk about all these young new players, right? There's so much talent in challengers, and I get it. But they literally hype up these young players and they kind of act like people like Kismet, like Havoc, like Saints. Even though I don't know if Saints is playing, but players who have
Censor, Haggy.
Yeah, well, I mean, Doug's still playing. Yeah, it's all had Censor in there. Not Chris.
But even Chris when he was playing. I get what your point. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, we could actually
run you,
so
Pat.
those players, right?
You.
Those players who have played at the highest level and had success, they're looked at as old news and garbage, right? They're too old to play when they're literally 23, 24, 25, 26 years old, right? And people don't realize, the general community, that this is like going from college to a professional sport, right? Even the best college football players in D1 only 0.1%, whatever the case may be, actually make it to the NFL. When there are 100% of the players on any NFL team, even if it's the worst team, that are NFL players. Like, I don't understand how Saints and those players aren't getting an opportunity.
They ruined the stigma. They ruined it.
That's what like people think. People think that everyone is the next Simp of Beezy and Afro, when like if you look at it realistically, majority of the players that have been in the league that have come from challengers, like that got an opportunity, and I'm not mad that they got it because I want to see the young players thrive and do well. But most of them have been very average and or bust. Like there's obviously superstars like Afro, okay, like the Simp, like the Abizi, but like there's just the same amount of players that have been nothing. Why would you not give someone like Saints or Havoc an opportunity?
Do you want to why? Do you want to why this all happened? One, those two ruined the stigma of Beezy and Simp. The second thing is LAN. LAN has gone for so fucking long.
That's true. That's fair.
Online, the environment is so, the variables to it in challengers are obscene. Like, if I remember the scrim chat that we used to have back in challengers, it was just people roasting each other, accusing everyone of either one, cheating, to host manipulation, host fucking. Right?
That's a big thing, by the way, and I think somebody brought it up about Jimbo. He lives in far East Canada. Like he could have been, part of that host fucking situation, right?
Yeah,
like,
but the point is, there's so many variables that go into winning in challengers that there's less and less warrant to actually winning in it, and there's more of an eye test in regards to getting picked up as a player. And the only thing that would help that is if there was just consistent events, bro. People don't realize how volatile. Well, the players do, but like you need to really sit down and look at it when you're going to pick up players, because it's so hard to tell who's good and who's not. And I'll use a perfect example here. Myself, I won the last challenger tournament there was in MW on LAN. Then you go to online, and then so many other players are like that were bad or were coming up. Some people got accused of cheating, and you never know. I'm not saying any of these high tier challenger players are cheating. Then there's host fucking when I was in the West Coast, right? So I can go from winning these LANs to playing people online that are going to put me on like 150 ping.
They're comfortable in their bedroom online. They're not up on LAN on a stage.
That too, but even like the ping stuff, and I can start placing worse. But then let's say hypothetically we go to another LAN and I sit there and I win it again. Like that shit doesn't mean anything. But the environment online is so fucking volatile. It's not even close to what the Pro League is, what the Pro League was online. And even the online Pro League still had its issues. Now imagine playing people that were host fucking, right?
Yeah, they're doing
the thing is,
to win.
The thing is that it's like you could have had a good team, right? Or you could have had a solid team, but your seed got dealt a bad hand where you were playing against another team that had a higher seed than you, that had host advantage on you, that actually countered your team spread on host. So now you're placing worse than you should when you're probably a better team, or that team would work if you basically were the higher seed, for example. You would have been putting that other team in the situation. There's so many variables to performing well in challengers, and the reason why a lot of these players are, well, not a lot of these players, but some of these players become busts is because the results online on challengers are so skewed that when they do come in and go to these lands or even play on a fairer online playing field like you do in the pro league, they get exposed. And it's not the truth for everyone. And there are people that have, gone to do great things like Standy, Drowza had his moments, all these people. But it's going to happen. And it's going to start happening more often because I was talking about this to somebody else, I can't remember, a couple weeks ago, where I was saying, like, I look at challengers, and this is coming from someone that played there. There are still some people in there that can definitely compete, and I definitely think they can deserve to be on a pro league and they can be at the average level. Let's be real here. Not every pro team is going to be championship caliber. Just like not every sports team is going to be championship caliber. Do I still think that just because you're not championship caliber, you don't deserve to be in the league? No. But superstars, unless there's just new ones that pop out of the woodwork, I can't think of any. Left in challengers. I can't think of Simpa Beezies. I can't think of any. The closest ones we've gotten are Standy and like draws lately. Capsidal, he's still a question mark, but he's
still pretty inconsistent.
He's still exactly
a superstar.
For what we're saying a superstar should be. Maybe in the future they develop to
one game outside of Standy and
in Cold War.
We might not even say that about him in this game.
That's what I'm saying.
And we have the Europeans. We have the Europeans. Wait, hold on. Last thing. We see the Europeans in like Gizmo and Afro, but that's kind of unexplored territory. This is the first year where like hella European like amateurs were picked up into the pro league. So that's explored territory. Now I'm not saying there's none there, but like it's starting to dwindle. And I think people are holding on to the hope that like they'll get picked up by the pro scene. But at the end of the day, bro, I don't think a lot of these players, like even Classic, for example, or like Assault, I think like Assault was, I think Assault's still a good player too. Like they just forgot how to shoot. I think that a lot of these people have been dealt bad hands, and I still think they can compete at the highest level. They just need opportunities, and we need to bring back consistent lands, because lands, if you're gonna play LAN at the pro league and you're not gonna have lands for challengers, there's the environment's just too different to be able to justify like picking up players from challengers a lot of the time.
To end my point, and I'm glad you guys weighed in so I don't feel crazy. I just feel like if I'm a GM, okay, and it's like you said, Chris, right, where there's definitely players that could be solid in the league. If you're a team like Paris, okay, or an NYSL or any of these other teams, why wouldn't you get someone who has proven to be talented over a certain amount of time and had success that could really help the team, right?
You want me to answer why Paris, I think it is?
Well, yeah, but hold on. So let me finish. Because it was this whole circle jerk, bro, of like, they're just recycling players, blah, blah, blah. Like they need to get out of the league. I agree with that on like making the same or kind of creating the same teams with the same players. But you look, the perfect example is Donnie Temp. Okay. He was really bad on that LAT team last year. A lot of people thought he didn't deserve to be in the league. He's in a new environment, right, with new players, and he looks great. Probably the best he's looked in recent years. And he's proven himself time after time again. It's like, you don't need to kick the Cole Havocs, the Saints, the Kismets, anyone else, out of the league. Yeah, give them an opportunity, but don't just bet everything on some random challengers player being the next Simp and Beezy. That's what every GM is doing, and you're just gonna stay tanking.
But do you want to know why the issue? Do you want to know why that issue is a thing? My bad, Pat. Last thing. You want to know why this is an issue? There's not enough fucking spots, so it's harder to get into multiple environments. There's not enough spots. That's really what it is.
That does exist, but I think the real thing is, Ian, we understand that Havoc and Saints and these players, Chris, even you, and I think what these GMs are thinking is like, well, is that going to put us at number 1? Is that going to put us at number 2 or 3 or 4? I think their logic that they're using is like the swing for the fence mentality, where it's like they're rolling the dice on some amateur to become some superstar to really elevate them up to the top, because they're thinking is like, well, yeah, we'll pick up Havoc or Saints and we'll get better without a doubt, but we'll still be like 6 through 10, or you know what I mean? Because the league is so top heavy and competitive. Because otherwise, if that's not their thinking, then it makes no fucking sense. Because
no, that's fair. That's
players like Havoc and Kismet and Saints and Chris and like, there's so many players that would just drastically improve teams, but I feel like they're not going for like normal improvement. It's not like years past, because there's only 12 teams and it's so stacked at the top that they know like, well, we're not going to be able to get in that threshold anyway unless we get the next Simp or Abizi, which, by the way, doesn't fucking exist.
That's the worst mentality. They need to build foundations.
But that's what they're doing. I'm telling you, that's what they're doing.
Oh, 100%.
No,
What they're doing.
you're
But
right.
you need
You're
to
right.
build a stable foundation to attract other players, or you got to go out there and spend the money. And if you're not doing
half
that,
the teams aren't doing that. So
exactly. So you're just not going to get those.
I ever
those
got
players
Jimbo
in
for a
general.
bag of flaming hots and a new scuff. So like,
shit, he might not even be worth that. But listen,
Oh my
listen,
God,
kid,
dude.
Jimbo,
Oh my
listen, bro. I'm
God.
rooting for you to turn around.
that ain't
next
right.
week.
That ain't right.
I'm rooting for you to turn around next week. But listen, that's enough about the teams and the matches. Let's talk about the players real quick. I want to know what your guys' picks are for the best players in their respective roles. So we'll just go main, flex, and then double SMG.
Oh, that's easy.
Pick one of each. Go down the list. Can repeat from any team. Let me know what you got.
Main
Start
Dashy.
with you.
Yeah, I
Dashy
think we'll
main
probably
is
all say
undisputed.
Dashy for main.
Undisputed Dashy, yeah. And
Guys,
then for flex, I think it's undisputed
ridiculous.
Celium.
Wait.
no?
Let's go overall. We going overall or just off recent events?
Overall,
Wait, what
I'd
do
say
you, wait,
Dashy and
overall?
Celium.
So, I mean, so just all of Major 1 in the Major, right?
All of
And these
Vanguard.
matches.
Just all Vanguard to date. What we know.
Dashies has to be the best they are right now. I feel
Okay.
like. Who do you wait, Pat? Do you agree or no?
Did you agree?
I feel like Pat doesn't agree because we all said
Vanguard
Dashy, and Pat was giving me this look like.
I'm gonna go. That's tough.
It's
You
Dashy,
can't, bro.
honestly.
It's uncontested. You
I'm
can't even
trying to get
argue.
the OpTic fans mad. I
You
respect
can't
it.
argue. You can't.
Yo,
The second best team.
I got a sleeper.
Who?
Trey Zero.
Oh,
Trey's number 2 in my opinion.
Trey's definitely number 2.
Says Dashy's
Sim-
not the best. they are.
Trey's
That's the
number
title.
2 simply because Dashy is a star in the role while also still playing solid like a vet, making good plays, but he's a star. Like, bro, he's putting up ridiculous numbers. Trey is a very good AR, but like he's not on Dashy's level from a from a statistical perspective. Trey's still really good. Definitely second though. We could say second.
Yeah, he's second.
Just because
It's got to be unanimous Celium.
I don't think anyone could argue it's MC.
Bro,
MC
his stats are.
He might be the best player in the game. Him or
I-
Shotzi, it's hard for me to pick between them. Who's the best player right
I
now.
would have said Gizmo, but Gizmo didn't play well on LAN.
Yeah, he didn't.
So it's got to be Cell. And third place, or he was third place. And
I'm gonna go Cell.
it's got to be,
Bro, Cell stats. Like I get it. It's hard to not say it's hard to not say the best player in the game isn't on the best team, right? So I think it's fair, and Dashy stats are insane. But if you guys saw Cell's stats from the qualifiers in the major, dude, he's literally. It's unbelievable. He's like number 1 in hardpoint, number 1 in overall kitty, number 1 in hardpoint kitty, number 1 S&D kitty.
He's putting up bronze for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, like number 3 in control kitty, like damage at the top for all of them. It's insane. But he didn't win.
It's
So.
disgusting.
Well, let's go into SMGs. You kind of got to pick 2 here since there's not really a defined role. So we'll just go with 2 SMGs that you think are 1 and 2.
This is where
We
I think
can go.
Shotzi
We can
and
go
Sim.
with an aggressive SMG and like the supportive SMG. And the way we can like split them up is if you look at like OpTic, their aggressor is Shotzi, their supporter is
Okay, so let's go
Scump. Do that.
Slayer. Let's go Slayer, and then let's go aggressive.
or supporter, and then like Slayer or whatever. Okay, so
so you
supporter,
wanna do
supporting
supporter
SMG, supporting SMG.
Sim.
This is like your simp,
probably
your
still
scump category.
I might say Afro. I'll be
I'd say
on
he's an
set.
aggressor. I wouldn't say he's the supporter.
You
I'd say
think
he's the
you think
aggressor.
he's
He's the aggressor. Their supporter's nasty.
Bro,
right
fuck
now.
this support aggressive. 2 SMGs.
Okay. You're right.
Best 2 SMGs in the game. Who you got?
Shotzi and Sim.
Scump.
No
Nope.
question.
Oh, I was gonna say. Oh, you're right. I didn't want to pick both from OpTic.
Shotzi's a given.
I'd put Seth
Shotzi's
at
a
number 3
given.
right now. I'd put Seth at number 3.
I think it's Shotzi, Abizi, Scump.
You have a Tyler above Seth?
Yes.
Dude, that one's tough because I think Shotzi's a given, but I think for the second spot, you could say Simp, you could say Abizi, you could say Scump, or I think you could say Afro. I think they're all very close, honestly.
Afro's up there too. He's very high up on that
I
list.
still don't. I'm not sold on Afro being better than Abizi.
fair.
I think Afro is close
Astro's in my Afro.
to being as good as them, but I think it's Abizi and Scump, and the only reason I put Abizi over Scump is because Abizi obviously is the more aggressive, super mixy. Scump plays more.
Wait. You're not taking Shotzi?
No, I'm saying sorry.
Oh,
Shotzi's number 1.
I got you.
A
We're just
BZ
picking
number
two.
two.
We're all over the place.
There you
Yeah,
go. Shotzi and BZ. That's it.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna go Shotzi, and this one hasn't hit. I guess hasn't happened yet, but it's just what I think will happen. I got Shotzi and Kleenex.
What are you, Nostradamus? Oh, okay, give me a break. Come
Dude,
on. Kleenex
I
is
think
good.
Kleenex is about to be a problem in Major too.
I think
You
I'm about
love
to make $1
Toronto,
million
Pat. You
this year
love
too,
him.
Pat. For real, I do.
Well,
Bro,
the only reason he's
I-
saying that, bro, or the only reason I think that too, he's gonna get better is because I look at Kleenex from MW and that guy was absurd.
Yeah, no.
If I'm thinking
Pat's
the games
saying
are
that.
similar.
Chris, you want
He's
to know why
gonna
Pat's
take
saying
off.
that? It's because Kleenex dusted his ass at Black Ops 4 Champs. That's why
Yeah.
Pat's saying it with the
He
sun. He
loves
was making
Kleenex.
I was
Dust
waiting for that
fry
event to
him.
be over, bro.
Wait, Pat, you
I
literally made
literally, I literally a week before the event was like, so what are we doing with our roster? And then Show goes, look, I'm just gonna make the executive decision to send Kyler on loan to Splice. What? And then I'm like, so what the fuck do I do? He was like, well, I think Gunless is on LG's bench. They benched him, so yeah, we might as well just get him. Oh, we didn't know. Oh, you might as well bring like Adam Assault back.
Yo,
Yeah. What?
Whoever edits these videos gotta zoom into Pat's expressions right there when he was talking like Stro. You are an idiot.
Listen, bro. I was that whole event was just a troll, but yeah, Kleenex played well. Anyway, that's our picks. But let's go into pick'ems for next week.
Get my thing, dude.
So next Friday, this coming Friday, we got Breach versus ROKKR.
Wait. Are
Subliner.
we getting our boards? Do you have your boards already?
Oh shit, I don't have my board.
I got my board with me.
Hold on,
I got
give
my
me a
board with me
second.
too.
I'm good.
All right. So listen, we got some matches this coming week. We're starting off. We got Breach versus ROKKR. Who do you boys got? Ready?
Hold on.
Hey, Ian, hurry up.
Oh,
All right,
damn.
so I have Breach. Pat has ROKKR 3-2. I think Breach is going to take this 3-1.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, I don't have a map
Breach.
count.
Yeah, I don't have a map count either. So me and Chris
Oh,
have
we gotta
Breach.
do
Pat
map
has
counts.
ROKKR.
Map counts are terrible, bro. I don't know their vetoes. They control in the vetoes like every other team does. I'm not doing no map count. I just think Breach
Listen.
about to win this shit.
I think
Boston.
ROKKR's got the
Ian's got
S&D
Boston
edge.
3-1.
Listen, I think
Turn my
ROKKR
ISO down.
ROKKR's got the S&D edge, and I think that's why I think they'll take the series. I think it'll be a game 5.
ROKKR's got the S&D edge. Boston is nasty at search and destroy,
Bro,
and they're
Boston
better at
lost to the
respawn.
Subliners, bro. Stop saying they're nasty.
Yeah, but that was a while ago.
That was right before it's Major 1.
Okay,
Pat,
they
who's
went
the
to the
next
major
match?
and placed well.
Next series, Subliners against Paris.
Wow,
what?
that is the
That is
toilet
a-
bowl.
All right. I'm thinking that's a good one.
Mm.
And this
All right,
is
I'm
when
ready.
is this going to happen? When is this match? Next weekend?
Next weekend, this coming weekend. Yep. I'm ready.
Okay.
Got
Chris, you
mine.
ready? I know you're over there drawing logos.
No, I'm not. All right, I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
All right, here we go.
Bam. 3-1.
Nobody, because we all
I have to
what
watch.
does that say?
My
Bro,
my
why is
answer
mine
says
so
nobody
light?
because we all have to watch because that is going to be some of the worst Call of Duty Vanguard ever played.
Listen. I got
What?
NYSL 3-0. Doug, I think you had him 3. You didn't have a map count?
I'm not putting map count, but I have NYSL beating Paris as well.
Okay. Ian had Paris and Chris
Paris.
had nobody.
Nobody
But
is winning.
I think we're gonna get an NYSL roster change this week, and so I think they're gonna have their roster change, whether it be 1 or 2 people, and they're gonna come out with the fire. I think there's no way New York doesn't make a roster change in time for this next match. They've been absolutely.
If we're going off current rosters, bro, nobody's winning, bro. I don't even want to watch, but I know I'm going to have to.
Disclaimer: if NYSL make the roster change, I got them winning.
Okay.
Disclaimer.
All right.
you didn't account for that, yeah.
Who did? What am I reading minds, brother? They should have made a roster change 3 weeks ago when I said it. So I
All right,
can't trust them.
Regain. We got London versus FaZe.
Ooh.
Is Gizmo back?
Yeah, I think so. We're gonna assume he is.
I got mine.
All right, we gotta wait for Chris to draw his logo.
No, I'm good.
I'm ready.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Show him. All
We got
all went
FaZe.
We all
Yeah,
say
went.
FaZe.
We got the FaZe Revenge Tour, unanimous. And even if
Can y'all
Gizmo
see
does
it?
get back, Gizmo has
3-1?
Gizmo might not get back. They might not get as many reps, so it might make it harder for London. But I think Atlanta comes on a Revenge Tour. from
Seattle
the
just
poor
has
performance
FaZe
this
number,
week.
dude. I think FaZe is clearly the second best team in the league.
Yeah, I think the big thing is like London to me match up really well against all the other teams in the league, but FaZe and OpTic I think they struggle with because that's a team that they match their slaying power, and that's something it's tough for London because London usually wins that battle versus all the other teams. But we also got Ultra versus FaZe, another good one.
It's a tough week for Atlanta.
Atlanta has some hard matches.
Yeah, and they're
Gonna be interesting to see how they play.
Or what are they? Are they 0-1 or 1-1? They're 0-1, right?
They're 0-1, I believe, right? They
Yeah,
only
so
played
they
Seattle
got-
and they lost.
They got to bounce back.
All right.
Everybody ready? Chris?
Yep.
Bang.
I got the Ultra. Am I the only one?
3-0
Yeah.
Atlanta FaZe. 3-0
Listen,
Atlanta
bro,
FaZe.
I'm all about the Ultra comeback train. Listen, they're a very entertaining team to watch. I really hope they start, coming back and swinging like they were in Cold War, man. And this is where I could see them pulling it up.
Toronto looked
pulling
great,
an
man.
upset.
They won.
I
I
want them to look good. Like I want them to be a good team. They're a really entertaining team to watch, man.
I just think FaZe know that they got to win this, right? Like,
Yeah, no,
in the
definitely.
bracket, they got to win this.
Definitely. I just I'm just being a little Ultra stan for this match. So
It's
Yeah,
odd for
I
me
don't
to
mind
see
that. I don't
FaZe
mind that.
lose. It's really hard to see FaZe lose to OpTic and then first match back lose.
it's
to
always
Seattle.
hard to see FaZe lose. It's FaZe.
Look,
Yeah, I don't.
So it's
see,
like
I don't see how they're gonna keep losing here. Honestly,
if you're a betting man, you don't bet against FaZe unless it's versus OpTic's current form because those guys are also disgusting.
Toronto looked great. They're winning
Toronto
hard
do
points.
start look
They're
better.
one of the best teams in the league. Atlanta FaZe 3-0 still. Just how
I
it is.
agree.
Just how it is.
All right, well, that's gonna
Well,
kick off
the
the end
last
of the
one?
episode. Yeah.
That's our matches. Unless you want to talk about Seattle versus OpTic, but I don't know if we got to do the whiteboard pick'ems. I just don't think. I don't think Seattle's gonna show us any life. in
Nah,
that
bro.
match.
OpTic Smoke Show 3-0. But that's gonna
Yeah.
basically do it for the episode. Thank you all for stopping by and watching. You guys did a really good job of subscribing to the channel when we had that call to action on our last episode. So we really appreciate it. We're still trying to beat OpTic in subscribers. So if you guys love the show, make sure you guys sub to the channel, and we will
Use
see
the
you guys.
subscribe button as a fuck aches button.
A fuck aches
That's a
button.
good
I think
one.
everyone
That's
can
a
get
good
behind
one.
that one.
I done
It's just hard
broke
for-
my
it's just hard to
PC
hear
smashing
from
that
you.
shit.
it's hard to hear from
Anyways.
you, Pat.
Appreciate all the love, boys, and that's gonna do it for our episode. We'll see you guys in the next one.